Krishna everybody. Today I'm going to be leading the Kirtan and my name is Kishore Radhika. So let's start. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namne
शतश्री भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्री रविदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री पंचतत्व की जय। श्री श्री राधा गिरिधर भगवान की जय। श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्र मैया की जय। श्री गौर निताय की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द समल डिवोटीज। All glories to Sammal devotee. Hare Krishna. All glories to Sammal devotee. Hare Krishna. All glories to Sammal devotee. All glories to the feet of Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to the Prabhupada. All glories to the Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, everyone, and thank you for joining us once again to discuss the glorious pastimes of the Lord. Today, the verse that we are going to be looking at is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 6, and text 10. Tada tad aham ishaya bhaktanam sam abhipsata anugraham manyamanaha patishtham disham uttaram. Tada, at that time, tat, that, aham, I, ishaya, of the Lord, bhaktanam, of the devotees, sham, mercy, abhipsataha, desiring, anugraham, special benediction, manyamanaha, thinking in that way, prathishtham, departed, disham uttaram, in the northern country, in the northern direction. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I took this as a special mercy of the Lord, who always desires benediction for his devotee, and so thinking, I started for the north. Purport. Confidential devotees of the Lord see in every step a benedictory direction of the Lord. What is considered to be an odd or difficult moment in the mundane sense is accepted as spiritual mercy of the Lord. Mundane prosperity is the kind of material fever, and by the grace of the Lord, the temperature of this material fever is gradually diminished, and spiritual health is obtained, step by step. Mundane people misunderstand it. So here, when Narad Muni is saying that I took this as a special mercy of the Lord, he is referring to how his mother was bitten by a snake, and then how she left her body, which we'll be looking into in more detail later. So he says, I took this as a special mercy of the Lord. So ordinary men who are placed in this kind of situation, something like losing a job or losing someone very close, when this happens to them, they start to doubt the existence and potency of Lord Krishna. But they fail to see the broader picture, the bigger plan that Krishna has in store for them, because he is always wanting our good, our benefit, and our good welfare. Just like Krishna personally himself says in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, text 29. Let us recite that verse. Bhoktaram yagna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suridham sarvabhutanam gyatva mam shantim richati. Translation. A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. So Lord Krishna says, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities. So Krishna wants the good of all of us, and he will always try to make things look better for us. But sometimes when we are in difficult situations, we can't see from that perspective, because we are only seeing the present, what is happening now. Something bad is happening now. Why is Krishna doing this to me? I am serving him. But no, we should always take it to be the will of Lord Krishna, just like all the other great devotees have. Let's take, for example, Maharaj Parikshit, or even Srila Prabhupada himself. Srila Prabhupada underwent so many difficulties, but he didn't even utter a single complaint. He took everything to be the will of Krishna. And during the last 12 years of his life, he achieved more than any materialist could do during his entire life. Isn't that amazing? For example, a mother is sewing a piece of embroidery, and her child comes up to her and sees the piece of embroidery from below. What does he see? He sees a disastrous, messy tangle of uneven threads, looking utterly awful and horrific. But only the mother can see the top of it, which is beautiful with its vibrant colors and patterned in a beautiful way. In the same way, Krishna is just like the mother and we are just like the child. Krishna can see the whole picture from above, but we can only see a little bit of it, just like the little child can only see the messy part of the beautiful embroidery. On that note, we should always respect our parents, who are representatives of Krishna. We should always follow their instructions and always respect them no matter what. We cannot make any spiritual progress without respecting our parents. His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj says that if we can't respect our own parents, how can we respect the other devotees? Moreover, how can we respect Krishna and follow his instructions? So we should always respect our parents. They are our first guru. So, today we are going to be looking at Narada's story and continuing from last time where we left off. So here, Sukha Goswami is narrating this to the sages of Namisharanya. So the great sage Sutta continued to retell the story to the sages. Vyasadeva was captivated by Narada Muni's story and wanted to know more. Please, he pleaded, can you tell me what happened after the Brahmanas instructed you up until the time you became Narad Muni? And how is it that you remember what happened in your past life from another age? We all forget things over time, so how is it that you remember this so clearly? So remember, we discussed about how the Brahmanas were in Narada's house for a very long time, and by eating their remnants and by regularly serving them and hearing stories from them, Narada was enlightened. And here it also says, how is it that you remember what happened in your past life? We all forget things over time. So how is it that you remember all this so clearly? Most people cannot remember their previous lives, but Krishna gives a certain power to some people so that they can remember who they were in their past lives and what they did. And Narad Muni was one of these certain people. So he continued narrating. He said that one time when his mother was out at night milking a cow, she was bitten by a deadly snake. So this is what we discussed in the shloka. So she was bitten by the snake and she immediately left her body. But Narada didn't lament. He didn't complain. He didn't blame this on Lord Krishna. He took this to be the will and mercy of Lord Krishna. And so, without any parents, he decided to travel to the north, where he visited many new places which he had never ever seen before. It says here, he passed through cities, towns, villages, farms, mines, valleys, flower gardens and forests. Sometimes he came across places that were fit for heavenly beings, such as hills, mountains, and different lands with lakes full of beautiful lotus flowers. surrounded by busy bees and singing birds. And sometimes he traveled through deep, dark, and dangerous forests and caves, which were difficult to travel through alone, where snakes, owls, and jackals played. So he traveled through all these places, and after a while, he became so exhausted and hungry and thirsty. So he took rest by a lake and drank its cool waters. After that, he felt very, very much better. After that, he sat under a banyan tree to meditate upon Lord Krishna. And as he remembered the Lord's lotus feet, tears started streaming down his cheeks. He was in such deep devotion. Narad Muni exclaimed excitedly, "All of a sudden, I actually saw Lord Krishna in my heart, and I felt so ecstatic." So, he was such a sincere and pure devotee that he actually got to see Lord Krishna personally before his eyes. His excitement ended abruptly. But then he cried, "The form of Krishna vanished. Where did Krishna go?" I jumped up in distress, like anyone would if they had just lost something very valuable. He tried again and again to see him, to find him, but in vain. O Vyasadeva, I became so miserable as I could no longer see my dear Lord. But Krishna could see me, and he saw that I was upset and trying again and again to see him in that lonely forest. So he spoke to me in such sweet words just to lessen my grief. So this is what Krishna said. "My dear little boy, I am sorry, but you won't be able to see me again in this lifetime. It's very hard to see me if you still have material desires, or if you're not always engaged in my service. I had let you see me just this once, so you can remember me and want to see me more and more. For the more you hanker for me, the more you'll be free from material desires. By serving me under a spiritual master, even for a few days, you get to be my associate in the spiritual world in the next life." So he is saying that because he had not let him see the glimpse of him again twice, was because I let you see me just this once, so you can remember me and want to see me more and more, so that he can develop that hankering. And when he develops that hankering, he will be free from all material desires. And by serving him under a spiritual master, even for a few days, you get to be an associate in the spiritual world in your next life. And this is what Krishna said to Narada. By my mercy, Lord Krishna said, you will remember me even in the next age. So this is how Narada got the power to recount his previous life to Vyasadeva. When Lord Krishna finished speaking to me, I paid my obeisances unto him with heartfelt gratitude. I felt much better, and after that, I started traveling all over the world chanting the holy names of the Lord wherever I would go. I was now satisfied, humble, and unenvious. By the end of my life, I had no material desires. I left my material body, and at the end of the age, I entered into Lord Vishnu along with everything else in this world. And at the beginning of the new age, I appeared in my spiritual body as Narad Muni. Since then, by Vishnu's mercy, I travel everywhere throughout the material and spiritual worlds because I am fixed in unbroken devotional service, constantly chanting the holy names of Krishna and vibrating this veena, remember, which is his instrument which he carries around all the time, which has a spiritual sound. This was personally given to me by Lord Krishna. So after he got the spiritual body of Narad Muni, he began traveling around the whole world. Not the whole world, the whole universe. Not just the whole universe. All the many different universes that there are. He was allowed to go to Lord Krishna, to Lord Vishnu in his personal chambers. he could go down to the hellish planets and visit Bali Maharaj and Yamaraj. He could come down to Earth, here, Bhumi, without a visa, without a ticket, without anything. He just went around chanting the holy names of the Lord and glorifying Him, spreading His names to all the other people. And the veena, it says here, was personally given to him by Lord Krishna, which even I didn't know. As soon as I chant Krishna's names, he sits in my heart as if I'm calling him, Narada said. So you see, Vyasadeva, I have personal experience that those people who are always anxious or troubled can cross over this dark ocean by the bright boat of the holy name of Lord Krishna. And yes, my dear disciple, we can get some relief from miseries by changing our frame of mind, but our soul doesn't experience satisfaction. It doesn't become extremely happy this way. Only devotional service can do this. So devotional service is emphasized so much in Srimad Bhagavatam because it is the only way that we can go back to Krishna as pure spirit souls and gain spiritual bodies. Vyasadeva, I've told you my story because I know this will help you. The sages at Naimisharanya were in awe listening to this amazing story. So remember, Sudha Goswami is saying this to all the sages of Naimisharanya. Narada had now instructed Vyasadeva, Sutta explained, and so picked up his veena, started playing it and singing the glories of Lord Krishna. As he left Vyasadeva's ashram, he wandered throughout the world at his free will. All glories and success to Narada, who glorifies Krishna, takes pleasure in it, and enlivens the distressed souls of the universe. Jai! Cheered the sages. So Narada, he glorifies Krishna, takes pleasure in glorifying Krishna, and enlivens the distressed souls of the universe. So he goes around spreading the names of the Lord. And Narada is also present wherever the holy names of the Lord are chanted. In fact, this has been proved on many such occasions. Ratnavati Mataji, quoting from the reading, we get rid of miseries by changing our frame of mind. Yes, so remember, we need to always be positive. But that also doesn't give us full satisfaction. It is only devotional service. It is only devotional service that if we follow it, we will be blissful and go back to Godhead. So, it has been proved that Narad Muni goes to the places where the Lord's holy names are chanted on many such occasions with Prabhupada. So, I was reading on ISKCON Desire Tree this article about Yamuna Devi Dasi recounting about what happened one time. So, Prabhupada was giving the evening kirtan and then giving the lecture. And after the lecture, Yamuna Devi Dasi started singing the second kirtan. But suddenly, she heard Prabhupada's voice cut through the auditorium, and she describes it as the potency of Lord Nrsimhadev. And she could not understand what he was saying. It went something like this. Narada Muni bajai veena radhikara mananame. She hadn't ever heard the words before. Prabhupada signaled to her to keep on chanting. So that's what she did. She continued and she carried on. So everybody in the auditorium, she said, could feel and sense that something very miraculous and amazing was happening. Everybody was jumping up and down in enthusiasm, and everybody who were on the stage, they all jumped off and started circling the perimeter of the auditorium along with the audience, singing the holy names of the Lord. So the next morning, Yamuna Devi Dasi asked Srila Prabhupada that what had happened and why he had suddenly started saying those prayers. And Prabhupada inquired, Didn't you see him? Narad Muni was standing there. Yamuna Devi Dasi said, no, I didn't see him. But Prabhupada said that no, he was there. So this proves that Narad Muni actually goes to the many places where the Lord is being glorified. Not only that, but it is also proved that Srila Prabhupada has transcendental vision that very few people have, and he could actually see Narad Muni. And this has not just happened once, but it has repeated itself many, many times. And this has happened many times. On one such occasion, Prabhupada was also giving a lecture. Prabhupada was giving a lecture again, and there were very few people then over there. But among those few people, there was an English gentleman who came and sat down in one of the seats. And Prabhupada said later to his disciples that he was actually Narad Muni, come in a disguise. So Prabhupada could actually see through his transcendental vision, and Narad Muni actually comes to the spiritual world. He could be right at your place and my place right now, hearing our discussion of the glories of Lord Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai! Now it's time for the quiz. I hope you've been paying attention, because now I'm going to start asking the questions. Number 1. Who was Narada really attached to? A. His mother. B. The cow. C. The snake. So this really isn't explained, but it's kind of obvious before. The second question is, how old was Narada? A. 2. B. 5. C. 15. I'm just going to start recording the points. So the number 1 question is, who was Narada really attached to? A. His mother. B. The cow. C. The snake. I learned that when devotees are facing certain obstacles that are preventing them to go further in Krishna consciousness, then Krishna takes away all those problems, though it may seem that he is actually taking away many more stuff, but he is actually taking away the problems of the devotees and giving much more in return, spiritual as well as material. Just like Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj was a great devotee of Lord Krishna, and he not only was elevated spiritually, but he was also very elevated materially. He was gifted the pole star planet, much more than he had actually wished for, which was a kingdom greater than his father's. So when we look at Prabhupada's life, it may seem that everything was taken away from him, and materialists might think that Krishna doesn't help his devotees, and he actually took everything away from Prabhupada, like his business and his family. But actually, when you look at it, he wasn't even interested in his business, and nor was his son. So it was actually a relief when Krishna took that away from him by causing fire. And even when he took sannyas, the reason he took sannyas, it also has a story, but many people might think that why did Krishna take Prabhupada away from his family? Because if he was with his family, it would prevent him from writing books for Lord Krishna and continuing the Back to Godhead magazine and traveling all over the world like he did. So Krishna took away those problems and gave him so much more. Prabhupada did so much. He built 108 temples. He opened so many ISKCON centers all over the world. Thousands and thousands of disciples. What not did he not do? If it had not been for him, we wouldn't be here. So we should show our gratitude to Srila Prabhupada. and tell him how grateful we are for all that he has done. Okay, looking back at the answers, I'll just quickly note them down. Right, the third question is, how did his mother leave her body? A. She was cursed by the sages. B. Kicked by a cow one night. C. Bitten by a snake while milking a cow. Just going through the questions, I'm a bit behind. Let's see if everybody got it right. Now, okay, I'll say the question once again. I'll say all three of them. So, who was Narada really attached to? A. His mother. B. The cow. C. The snake. How old was Narada? A. 2. B. 5. C. 15. How did his mother leave her body? A. Cursed by the sages. B. Kicked by a cow one night. C. Bitten by a snake while milking a cow. All right. I hope I'm not going too fast. You can just tell me if I'm going too fast, so I'll slow down a little bit. All right. Should I move on to the fourth question? How did Narada see this incident? A. As his mother's karma. B. Serpents are bad creatures and must be punished. C. As Krishna's mercy. So I'll say the fourth question again. How did Narada see this incident? A. As his mother's karma. B. Serpents are bad creatures and must be punished. C. As Krishna's mercy. So karma is the result of what good or bad activities you do. And you may get them any time. It can be instant or it can come after a very long period of time. It can even come in your next life or many lives after that. Okay, when you're typing your answers, can you please let me know which question it is? Because I'm a little bit confused when you say C or B or A. Okay. Radha Padma Mataji is, number 4, which is C. Okay, got it. Just a little confused. So, all right. Krishna's mercy. Okay, the 5th question. What did he do after that? A. Traveled north. B. Cried for 5 days. C. Searched for the Brahmanas. So what did he do after his mother left her body? A. Travelled north. B. Cried for 5 days. C. Searched for the Brahmanas. I have to say, everyone is doing pretty good. No worries, it's fine. I'll wait for your answer, Adiji. So while you're typing your answer, I'll just say the 6th question. So after some time, he felt exhausted and rested by A. Lake, B. Cave, C. Temple. So after he had traveled for so many days, he became exhausted and he rested at a certain place. And the options are A. Lake, B. Cave, C. Temple. Sumit Prabhuji, lake is actually A, but you did lake, so I don't know if I'll give you a 1 or a 2. No worries, Sumit Prabhuji. I just need to catch up with the answers. Okay, has everybody written their answers? So we'll proceed to the next question. Thereafter, he sat under a banyan tree and began to A. Cry more. B. Make a home for himself with the twigs and leaves. C. Meditate on Lord Krishna, as the Brahmanas had shown. So, question 7. Thereafter, he sat under a banyan tree and began to A. Cry more. B. Make a home for himself with the twigs and leaves. C. Meditate on Lord Krishna, as the Brahmanas had shown. Now, just as an extra question, I'd like to put, do you remember the name of Narad Muni 2 lives back? So when he was in the heavenly life as a Gandharva. Can you please put the name? I won't give any options or it'll become too easy. Thank you very much, Mataji. It's so good to see so many people join in, though I do have to do lots of points. Okay, so the extra question that I asked was, do you remember the name of Narad Muni in his previous life? So the life before he was a son of a maidservant, so in his Gandharva life. Anybody remember his name? So if you do, then can you please put it in the comments so I can share it with everybody? Anybody? Okay, from here, the 8th question is, this has quite a lot of questions. What did he meditate on that made him cry out of love? A. Krishna's lotus feet. B. Krishna's smile. C. Krishna's flute. So which one should I repeat? I said the extra question was, what was Narada's name 2 lives previously in his Gandharva life? And Ratnavati Mataji, you are absolutely right. It was Upabharana. I can't pronounce it properly, but yes, the spelling is correct. Good memory, Mataji. So the 8th question is, what did he meditate on that made him cry out of love? A. Krishna's lotus feet. B. Krishna's smile. C. Krishna's flute. I've got one answer. Okay, there are 16 questions actually, so we have 8 more to go. So can everybody please type if they would like me to continue, or if I should just conclude here and we do the next 8 questions next time? So should I stop here? Or do you want to continue with the questions? Yes? No? Anybody? Because we've finished the whole chapter and we have 16 questions. Rasravati Mataji, please continue. Okay, so then we'll continue with the 8 questions. So, the 9th one is... Oh! Radhapadma Mataji, next time. Anybody else? We need a vote here. There's a tie. Majority wins. Yes, we need somebody else. We have 2 opposing teams. So, should I continue or should I do it next time? Next time, I've got another next time. This is going up. Next time, again. Anybody else? Otherwise... Okay. We will stop here. We will wrap up over here. But... remember to keep your memory and brain working, because we're going to do the next 8 questions next time. So remember to study and refresh your brain before we do the quiz. So we'll have a double quiz next time. Thank you very much everybody for coming here. Oh, I'm so sorry Ratnavati Mataji. Everybody weighed you up with the next times. So today we learned about how Krishna always has a broader plan for us. And we should always try to see it. And we shouldn't complain. And move forward and try to improve and learn from our mistakes. And we also see how association is really important and how the Brahmanas completely transformed Narada's boyhood life. Thank you very much everybody. Hare Krishna, and see you next time. Thank you very, very much for joining in the quiz. It was very, very nice. Hare Krishna.